A high-capacity magazine ban is a law which bans or otherwise restricts detachable firearm magazines that can hold more than a certain number of rounds of ammunition. For example, in the United States, the now expired federal assault weapons ban of 1994 included limits regarding magazines that could hold more than 10 rounds. 8 U.S. states, and a number of local governments, ban or regulate magazines that they have legally defined as high capacity. The majority of states, 42, do not ban or regulate any magazines on the basis of capacity. States that do have large capacity magazine bans or restrictions typically do not apply to firearms with fixed magazines whose capacity would otherwise exceed the large capacity threshold. The federal ban of 1994 defined a magazine capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition as a large capacity ammunition feeding device. Likewise, the state of California defines a large capacity magazine as any ammunition feeding device with a capacity to accept more than 10 rounds. Such devices are commonly called high-capacity magazines. Among states with bans, the maximum capacity is 10 to 20 rounds. Several municipalities, such as New York City, restrict magazine capacity to 5 rounds for rifles and shotguns. The state of New York previously limited magazine capacity to 7 rounds, but a district court ruled this ban to be excessive and could not survive intermediate scrutiny. Most pistols sold in the U.S. are made and sold with magazines holding between 10 and 17 rounds. In November 2013, the National Rifle Association sued the city of San Francisco over an ordinance banning possession of magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds. At the time, no court had overturned a ban on high-capacity guns or magazines. In March 2014, the Supreme Court refused to halt a similar ban by the city of Sunnyvale, California. United States. Federal assault weapons ban of 1993. William B. Ruger, a founder of Sturm, Ruger & Co., is often ascribed with providing the impetus for such a ban, the genesis of his proposal being his firm's competition with Glock and other handgun manufacturers who provided larger capacity magazines than did Ruger. Ruger said that rather than ban firearms, that Congress should outlaw magazines holding more than 15 rounds. On March 30, 1989, Ruger sent a letter to every member of the U.S. Congress stating, "The best way to address the firepower concern is therefore not to try to outlaw or license many millions of older and perfectly legitimate firearms, which would be a licensing effort of staggering proportions, but to prohibit the possession of high-capacity magazines. By a simple, complete, and unequivocal ban on large-capacity magazines, all the difficulty of defining assault rifle and semi-automatic rifles is eliminated. The large-capacity magazine itself, separate or attached to the firearm, becomes the prohibited item. A single amendment to federal firearms laws could effectively implement these objectives." William B. Ruger. The federal assault weapons ban of 1993 included a ban on magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition. 1. The Public Safety and Recreational Firearms Use Protection Act, commonly called the Assault Weapons Ban, AWB, was enacted in September 1994. The ban, including its ban on magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition, became expired, in September 2004 per a sunset provision. Attempts to renew the ban have failed on the federal level. State high-capacity magazine bans. As of March 2014, Washington, D.C. and 8 U.S. states have high-capacity magazine restrictions or bans. California. Colorado, on in-state sales of magazines with a capacity of 16 rounds or greater. Connecticut. Hawaii, on handguns only. Maryland, on in-state sales of magazines with a capacity of 11 rounds or greater. Massachusetts. New Jersey. New York. In Virginia, high-capacity magazines are not banned, but a semi-automatic, centerfire rifle or pistol with a magazine able to hold more than 20 rounds is considered an assault firearm and may only be purchased by citizens or permanent residents. Municipal and county high-capacity magazine bans. U.S. cities with high-capacity magazine restrictions or bans include Los Angeles, California. San Francisco, California. Sunnyvale, California. Denver, Colorado. Cook County, Illinois. Aurora, Illinois. Chicago, Illinois. Oak Park, Illinois. Albany, New York. Buffalo, New York. New York, New York. Rochester, New York. Legal status. In December 2013, the National Rifle Association, NRA, representing 5 residents of Sunnyvale, California, filed a lawsuit to stop enforcement of the city's ban on possession of magazines able to hold more than 10 rounds, in a case known as Fyock v. Sunnyvale. In March 2014, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy rejected a request to block enforcement of the law pending appeals. In March 2015, the Federal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the magazine capacity restriction, ruling that it does not violate the Second Amendment. Eugene Volokh, constitutional scholar, says that a federal district court judge was correct to decide that a local high-capacity magazine ban was constitutional, comparing limits on magazine capacity to limits on free speech. Canada. With the passage of Bill C-17 in 1993 under Prime Minister Kim Campbell, in response to the 1989 École Polytechnique massacre, magazines designed for use in semi-automatic centre-fire rifles and semi-automatic shotguns became limited to 5 rounds, and magazines designed for use in handguns are limited to 10 rounds. Magazines designed for use in semi-automatic rimfire rifles, as well as manually operated long guns, are exempt from the magazine capacity restrictions. In recent years, there has been a growing trend of ways to legally work around the magazine capacity restrictions. Numerous semi-automatic centre-fire rifles also happen to accept handgun magazines, thereby legally increasing magazine capacity. Numerous rifle and handgun magazines designed for a particular caliber also happen to fit an over-the-limit number of smaller caliber rounds, also legally increasing magazine capacity. Hunting. Some jurisdictions apply magazine limits to hunters. For example, Maine has a 5-cartridge limit on auto-loading firearms for hunting 18, as does Oregon.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.